What's up, Future Millionaires? Today, we're going to be having a conversation with another successful agency owner, Joe Ruiz. And we're going to be talking about the current virus situation, like what industries are the best to go after right now, how to adjust to the current situation, and like also where the industry of social media marketing is going in the future. And we also have some really valuable tips on growth and growing your social media marketing agency to 6 figures and even scaling it up to 7 figures. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. There's a lot of huge like golden nuggets packed into this video. And I highly recommend, even if you don't have the time to watch the whole video right now, like save the video and you can even listen to it on headphones since it'll be mostly like conversation. You can like listen to it while you're working out or while you're doing some work or while you're watching, like eating lunch, any of that would work. But with that said, hope you guys enjoy the video.
All right. So Billy, what's like what's like one of the main effects that happened to your business once kind of all this, like beginning of March, once all this started kind of happening? What were some, I would say, things that affected your business and how did you adapt to those?
Probably the main thing, just as we're working with clients, as their businesses are affected, then our business is obviously affected. So depending on each client's situation, whether they can stay open, whether they're an online store, we have to just modify our marketing so that it fits whatever they're currently offering. So it really just varies in the client, and just once again, always just thinking about how can you provide the most value to the client, I think is the number one thing. What are you guys doing right now?
So pretty much what we're doing is just pivoting. We're not really changing anything up. I know a lot of my clients did pause their ad accounts, which rightfully so, I mean, they had the right to do that. Some more non-essential businesses who were even open. A lot of them did pause, but a few of them did say, you know what, hey, instead of using this time to generate leads, let's generate some brand awareness. So people are kind of stuck at home. And the cost per acquisition is a little bit lower now that a lot of people are pulling out of the advertising game. But one way we did pivot, I would say tremendously, is kind of going after essential businesses, kind of businesses who were still able to operate. Again, I don't know what country your people live in that are watching this, but here in the United States, where I live in California, the lockdown we're one of the first states in lockdown. So I feel like I did get a bit of ahead of the curve when it came down to other people located in different states. But pretty much how we adapted, we just pivoted towards different campaigns, instead of generating, lead, to generating brand awareness, as well as going after new business owners who were deemed essential. So pretty much it operates just like if there was no quarantine.
Awesome. Yeah. So like some of our dealership clients, for example, we changed up the marketing to be like every single ad, we would always make sure that we include like that they're still open or that they're doing like free delivery. And like if they're going to sanitize the cars beforehand,
more ensuring.
Exactly. Like we've modified like a lot of our ads for clients that do have like person-to-person contact to make people that are seeing the ads feel comfortable, like actually working with them. As far as losing clients, we didn't have too much trouble there, luckily.
I know you do have a lot of higher ticket clients than me, so.
The 3 car dealership clients that I had, I was definitely worried that they were going to leave, but actually none of them did. And I think a lot of them have the mindset of actually, if you find the right business owners, the nice thing is they'll have the mindset that's like a growth mindset. And like one of my dealership clients right now, for example, he is buying more cars now because they're able to get better deals on the cars at auctions, and there's way less people at auction and things like that. So it's actually getting better deals and able to get a higher profit during this time. So it's like a different mindset. I think a big problem that surprises me is a lot of business owners are like just how people work a job and they live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of business owners are as well living paycheck to paycheck all the time.
Exactly.
Everyone's probably already known for the last 2-3 years that there's going to be a recession coming soon. But why have these people not really prepared for it? They should have saved 6 to 12 months of expenses like years ago. And so it's kind of their fault, to be honest, for not doing that. Because, the reason for doing that is, one, you never know what can happen at any time. So you always make sure you have 6 to 12 months expenses saved up. But then besides that, it's always good to have cash on hand, especially if you know a recession is coming, because you can use that cash on hand to be able to invest in things to get a better deal during that time. You can almost think of a recession, if you have the right mindset, as like a flash sale or something like that. And you kind of
like
do the
opposite Black Friday of like the Black Friday of the economy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just like a mindset shift that a lot of people don't really think about. But if you're able to do that and you're able to find clients like that, it's a really big difference. And I think that is the nice thing about working with high ticket clients, is I think a lot of them do have that kind of different mindset, luckily.
Yeah. So speaking of, I know you're getting these dealership clients. Do you know of any like new ways of prospecting, I would say, to these business owners during these times? Because I know nowadays cold calling is a little bit difficult because a lot of like the front desk people aren't working right now, because I guess they want to cut back, and things like that. That's from what I've noticed, as well as emails aren't being responded too fast. I mean, do you know of any kind of new prospecting methods that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually did some crazy testing with dealerships lately. And as far as getting dealerships as new clients, extremely difficult right now. Luckily our other ones that were already working with us, they stayed working with us. But as far as we did some cold calling outreach, my team did some cold calling outreach. And we also ran some advertisements like a car dealer recession survival workshop. Okay. And we actually got a lot of people visiting that page, and there wasn't the quality of the calls that we did get weren't very good. So yeah, there's definitely, most car dealers aren't really in that situation. They weren't really willing to do that. I mean, they might be able to if we provide an even more in-depth solution, or maybe we made a mistake in our messaging or something. Don't know about that, but yeah, that was definitely a huge challenge. So that took me like 2 days to test out. So it was no big deal. And I figured I'd test it out. It might blow up, it might not. So hopefully. What our backup plan was just going to e-commerce. Yeah, that's a great one. Right now we're just doing cold email outreach to e-commerce clients and just looking for like the biggest clients we can possibly. And luckily in the last week, met with 2 really big clients. One is a $60 million company per year, and they want to have an IPO next year. And then another one is an influencer with about 600K YouTube followers and 500K Instagram followers. And that has a really good product that we're going to work together on. So yeah, just from doing a week or 2 cold outreach, it's been working really good.
Yeah. So from what I remember from what I've seen, I think like kind of thinking outside the box and keeping it, I would say stupid simple, is kind of, if you ever see like an ad being currently ran that's poorly optimized, like I get ads like this all the time where it's like a mechanic, because I'm into cars, right? So I'll get a mechanic shop targeting people who like cars, but yet they're located like 3 states, to the right of me, in Arizona when I'm in California or something like that. What I'll do is I actually message them and say, hey, obviously, they're doing something with ads. It might've been somebody in-house, a tech savvy cousin they hired, whatever it is. But yet I come in there as a professional with, professional photo, great bio, linking back to my business where they can look up the reviews, everything like that, and just straight up cold messaging them on Fiverr, or I'm sorry, not Fiverr, but on Instagram, and just saying, hey, do you guys need help? More booked appointments, more leads? Because how I see it is I don't like to sell a service, I like to sell a solution. So instead of just saying, hey, buy my digital marketing services, I say, hey, would you like more booked patients or booked appointments showing up to your, car dealership, because at the end of the day, leads are great and all, but if you can say booked appointments, that's somebody actually showing up to the place, So that's from what I've seen. That's kind of like some prospecting methods that I've seen kind of work. Again, I haven't really tested that so much because I really don't have the time to do that, because it does take some time because you're kind of waiting on Facebook to feed you, kind of ads are not set up properly. But once you engage with those ads, Facebook starts sending you more ads like that. So once you're in that game, then it gets a lot more easier. Every time you just see a poorly, set up ad, just send a message. I mean, you never know. You might see 10 or 20 of them a day, little 2-minute video, little 30-second little selfie videos, whatever it is. But on a month span, if you can outreach to, 200-300 new people like that, let's say you've got, 10, 20 booked appointments and 1 or 2 clients out of that from just doing something that, you're already browsing social media, might as well just do that, while you see an ad.
Yeah, exactly. I think a big question a lot of people have right now is like, what industries are working good during this and what industries are working bad? So I'll kind of answer that real quick first, and then you can jump into your opinion on this after, because I get this question a lot and a lot of people are worried. But the simple answer is every industry still works, but you just need to understand like the benefits and the downsides. So there could definitely be some issues with outreach in certain industries right now, just because they're in that scarcity mindset that they don't really want to spend any money.
Yeah.
Which actually, if you're able to get your messaging in the right way, you might be able to convince them otherwise, because it's actually would be the better time to do it. Because
less competition.
Like, for example, if there's like no gyms are advertising anymore, then there's no competition for the advertising right now, and they can start building up their pipeline so they have new members set up as soon as their gym's going to reopen.
Exactly.
Or if they have like some kind of online personal training setup, like if they're a gym and they offer personal training, instead of doing their normal in-person personal training, or they might even be able to still do that, because I'm pretty sure there's not like the limit of like is 10 people in an area or something like that. So one-on-one personal training might still be allowed. I'm not sure on that, to be honest, though. It probably depends on the state.
Yeah, state and the country you're in.
But either way, like still online personal training, like you can literally just do a FaceTime with the personal trainer and do your home workout and then make meal plans and stuff. So it's just like pivoting. So every industry works still, it's pivoting. So like, honestly, if you already had a niche that you were working with, then I'd probably just stick with that and figure out a solution to solve their current problem.
Yeah.
Kind of like pivot. Keep going through that. But if you have the ability to, like, if you're just getting started, or, if you're wondering why I changed specifically, it's because I've always wanted to get into the e-commerce space, and I want to have like gigantic clients. Like I want to have like 3 or 4 just like huge clients. And like, that's kind of like what my goal is. That's the reason for me doing that.
I
Just think
mean,
about in the long term, like what you want, like which niche do you want to work with long term, and just
exactly.
focus on that. That's what I would
And
say.
e-commerce is definitely a long-term thing because I mean, e-commerce is still so new compared to where it's going to be at 20 years from now. Where in 20 years from now, like I'm pretty sure to create a business, it's probably going to require you to have a website to even make an LLC or something like that. You never know, because you have to understand, back in the day, it used to be people, going from town to town in their, horse-pulled shop that they have, where they sold snake oil or whatever they was, and then all of a sudden went to where you have a stationary place to go to, and then now it's going to be to where online, because the thing is businesses follow where the people go, and if people are online, that's what businesses are going to have to go to eventually. People might not do it right now because there's still a demographic out there, the boomers, whatever, that still like to go to physical places, and there's definitely some places where they're always going to have a physical location, but definitely investing into the future and thinking like not even just like 6 to 12 months ahead, but 6 to 12 years ahead, and saying,
Oh
okay,
yeah, that's
we're gonna
actually
go
a
from
really
there.
good point. I actually had a really good opportunity that I was using in some of the messaging to my cold email to specific companies,
Yeah.
but to companies that typically sell like in store mainly, but they have like a little bit of e-commerce or like they could expand e-commerce. I was actually messaging that we're helping stores that are primarily in-store sales transition to e-commerce so they can keep their sales going. So think about offers that can work. That's like really powerful for businesses during this time. But I mean, the best thing you can do is just figure out like find somebody in the niche and just actually talk to them, because it's hard to guess what they want. It's better to like talk to a couple people and ask them what they actually want.
Exactly. So, I mean, let's take this 2 steps back. So, even before you contact these people, for somebody who's, I would say, just getting started right now, or just got started within the past, this year, I mean, they're going into something that's never happened before. What would you tell these people right now that you would have done differently before, if you would have started during this pandemic? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Like, let's give me a month that I would started my agency in.
I would say, you probably heard about marketing back in November, December of 2019. And it wasn't until February where you finally pulled the trigger and were like, all right, let me buy a course. Let me start, watching this course material. And I would say you've watched a good course material. You understand kind of how things are right now. You're just trying to get clients to either A, do 2-week free trials on, testing out, or maybe getting some experience, or B, just outreaching. Like, what would you do in that position?
Let's see. So when I choose a niche, I weigh three things. So the most important thing first is getting like the niche that you're going to work with. And so I think that between three things. One is what you enjoy. One is what you know. And third is what the market currently needs.
Exactly.
So the most important of those three is what the market currently needs, because if they don't need what you're offering, then it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So you have to take what I would do when picking a niche is take into consideration the current market need when you're deciding your niche. So that's what I would consider. And then as far as outreach, first step is just figuring out the industry you're going to focus on. Second thing is figuring out what's their problem and what's going to solve that. So like what service is going to be the best way to solve that. And then third is actually getting some people you can test that out on. So figuring out just any way that I can talk to at least like 3 to 5 of them, start to get to know like what are they going through? What do they need help with? Mainly thinking about a lot of people that start an agency think too much about how can they make money quickly.
Oh yeah.
Which is not gonna, you actually make money quicker if you focus on solving the client's problems, because then you will keep them as clients versus just getting them as a client like one time and then having to get new ones over and over and over again. So making sure you get that solution down right. And then once you got the solution down, then kind of expand that out to multiple businesses. So just like taking your time and actually like helping the clients. So yeah, it's pretty simple when you think about it. It's just literally finding the problem, figuring out the solution, and then selling the solution. It's pretty simple.
Kind of looking at it as like a reverse engineer approach, kind of looking at like the tip of the pyramid, saying, okay, what does all this fall down to? And at the end of the day, you're solving a solution, and if you can figure out how exactly to solve that solution, everything else would be a lot more easier to go into place. Because I see so many people coming into this when they first starting out. I get this so many times. Like they'll immediately come to say, hey, Joseph, I saw your videos, or hey, I saw you off of Billy's videos. I just want to know, I'm just starting my agency. Can you take on all my clients and do all my work? Pretty much asking you to literally build their business for them when they have no track record, no previous clients, nothing. And I'm over here looking at like, hey, well, have you even tried yet? Like, have you even tried to solve a solution before? Like, and they're usually just like, oh no, I haven't gotten a client yet. I don't know how to. And people are coming into here kind of like thinking that as like a get rich quick, like, hey, within 30 days, I'll make 6 figures, because I see that all the time. But people don't understand is, when you see these videos, these, get rich quick videos where it's like, hey, look how I made, $10,000 in 24 hours, things like that. You don't understand, like it took them 5 years to know how to do that in 24 hours, So when you're looking at things at face value and not really digging deep, I think a lot of people kind of get tripped over and kind of, their passion kind of decreases a lot once over time. They're saying it's not working after the first month, second month, oh, they made some money, but it wasn't like, it wasn't no $10,000, $20,000 a month, So what I would say pretty much to people who are just starting out in this time right now, understand that right now is probably the best time. One, because you're never going to probably see anything like this, ever. I mean, probably ever. So if you can survive during these times, you can thrive during these times. I can almost guarantee you when this is all over, you'll be thriving after this, and you will know exactly kind of, because now you pretty much went into it, head first, in the belly of the beast. And if you can come out alive at the end of the day, when the dust settles, I mean, you're going to be unstoppable.
I agree with that. And another way you can think of it too is if you might have an advantage over an agency that's already been doing the same thing for like years. Because you're in a new situation, you can come up with a new idea quicker than an agency that's already been doing the same thing for a while that's not working for their clients anymore. Just like a quick note, but did you have any other questions, Joe?
Yeah. So, obviously, how things are changing. I mean, for my opinion, I think a lot of things are going to be changing after this, not just in social media marketing, but in general throughout the world. Like, people are going to realize, like, holy crap, we don't need this massive warehouse to have workers. We can just give them all laptops. They can do it from home. Like, look how easy it was that we did, and we got just as much work done, And I feel like all businesses and all industries are going to change, whether it's dramatically or just small. I mean, every business is going to change after this because people are going to realize that, hey, we can depend on internet. Like, it's not some foreign thing anymore. But in social media, in pretty much the SMMA industry, like, how do you think this is going to change? Like, what do you think is going to change? And it's going to, so people have to kind of adapt now. Like, what are some changes you'll see coming out of this?
Good question. Okay, change. Let's see. It's kind of a tough one, to be honest. What do you see so far? Maybe that'll give me some ideas.
I mean, one is how people handle meetings. I mean, I used to get I optimized my SEO on my website for a lot of local keywords. So I do get a lot of local clients hitting me up through either my Google, my Yelp, whatever it is. And they'll call me. And I would say 90% of the people who are local who call me always want to meet me in person. They always want me to come to my office. They always want to kind of confirm I'm a human being. But I think nowadays people aren't going to be just going to Zoom calls, like Google Meets. Like, it's going to be so from doing this for the next, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever, how long it's going to last, to just going back to that. It's really not going to be like that. People are going to be so used to kind of going on Zoom now, going on Google Meets, whatever it is, that I think meetings are going to change the way how meetings are structured. How you send the proposal out, how you can get them signed on that call while they have a video going on, it kind of creates that more, I would say, rapport when you have both videos on, you can see each other talking. That's kind of how I think I'll think it'll change when it comes down to the meeting aspect of it. Of course, we'll see more in depth, with whatever trends have to come. But that's from what I've seen. Like, I think that's going to change a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing that I just thought of was that I think will change a lot is I think a lot of businesses right now have been forced to transition to more online services. So I think that industry will continue growing. So whether it's like a gym that they're improving their website, or they started like online personal training and offerings like that. I think that would be like the biggest expansion. And actually, I could see this growing social media marketing even more, just simply because more businesses will be utilizing it, and they realize that, well, what has everybody been doing when they're in this quarantine? They're all on like YouTube and Facebook and all on social media more than ever. So
yeah, exactly. I completely feel you there. I was visiting my dad the other day, and he was stuck in quarantine because he does construction, and a bunch of his construction jobs, kind of got paused, so he doesn't go on site anymore. And he came to me, he was like, "Hey, Joe, stuff, I saw YouTube videos, I subscribed to you." And I'm like, "You watch YouTube videos?" Like, he's known I have YouTube. He's seen my videos when I watch them, but he's really never like watched them. And just from seeing them, like, wow, a lot of people are starting to actually start using their phones now and are using it online. More older generation starting to like use it, and I started to notice, like, wow, this is actually like not as hard as I thought. And I think there'll be a huge influx of new business owners investing into their online presence. I think when this is all over, because they're gonna realize, oh my gosh, all these other millennial business owners are thriving right now, because they're utilizing e-commerce stores, or utilizing virtual pickup and drop off, car buying, whatever it is, compared to me, where the only thing I rely on is word of mouth and a billboard sign outside my my facility. And that's it,
What's like, what do you think is like the biggest worry for people that are trying to, with their agency right now? Like, what is people's biggest worry? Is that I'm sure people have lost clients
Yeah.
What do you think people's biggest worries are right now?
I would say, well, I mean, this depends. There's two different types of people I would say that come into this game. Obviously, people who want to get rich quick, and then people who obviously understand there's a process to this, understand it's a process that works, and they're just following along this process. And of course, throughout that process, they might have got cut short for stuff that's not under their control. This whole virus going on. But to answer your question, I would say definitely a money aspect is there. Like definitely money is like the one thing that I would say small agency owners maybe have 1 or 2 clients are definitely struggling on, because if you only have 1 or 2 clients making $2,000-$3,000 a month, whatever it is, and one of them cuts out, one of them pauses, that's half of your income. So you really never got that chance to save up that 6 to 12 months of of overhead to survive off of. So I feel a lot of agency owners, the main thing they will struggle with right now is getting clients, because a lot of people, like you said, are in that kind of like that scarcity mindset of like, hey, I need to hold on my money right now because I don't know what's going to happen, But like you mentioned, it's the way you word things. If you can word things as an investment, a lot of people are more inclined to give you money because they understand investments have risk. Investments are something you build up over time, an asset, And a lot of business owners look at everything as an expense when they first start out because of maybe they might have got scammed back in the day. They probably bought something that didn't really work out. And then after that moment, every single time they want to buy something, they make sure they want to be 100% confident. They want to have contracts, guarantees, blood samples, sacrifices. They want everything. You want to give them 20 proposals, customized, like color palette to what they're wanting. I'm pretty sure you've had people ask for that. But I mean, definitely, utilizing and finding a prospecting system that works would definitely, I would say, solve that issue of not getting clients.
Yeah. And I mean, the way that I think about it is if you don't have any clients, the benefit of that is then you don't have to spend any time getting clients results. So you should have like your entire day that you can be testing these things. And like, yeah, of course, if you feel like you want to test out like another niche that you think will work better during this time, then yeah, of course, that's okay. But you can continue kind of like testing both a little bit, just pivot to whatever is working best for you. But yeah, the key is just figuring out an outreach method that's working for you consistently. And I definitely personally have seen, I don't really get a lot of inbound meetings as well, but I've seen like a significant, or meetings and applications, but I've definitely seen a significant decrease in the amount of like inbound applications that we've gotten over the last couple of months since this happened.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah.
So I definitely see it's like affecting things. It's definitely affected our growth because we've been kind of like, we were stuck for a little bit until I started. That's why we were probably going to start this anyways, but we started doing cold outreach, which we haven't had to do in a while, but I think it's going to be helpful. And we've been building out just like an automated system so that it's automated outreach. That's going to not have me like involved in the process and things like that.
Exactly.
Just figuring out an automated way you can set that up. I mean, no matter what, that's key to any successful agency, regardless of this current situation or not.
Of course, finding a system that works. That's like the key point. So out of kind of everything we mentioned today, what's like one thing you really want like a new marketer to take away from this video?
Number one thing that I would probably want a new marketer to take away from this video is just be patient and build things the right way rather than trying to rush everything. Like, yes, you want to like rush in a way. You don't want to be like patient as far as like you're procrastinating. That's patient and procrastinating is not the same thing. Being patient as far as you're putting in the work every day and you're setting up the systems the right way.
Exactly.
And you are patient for the results. So I think that's really the biggest key, is not rushing it too much and just caring about the clients more than anything and getting them the right results. And it's very important to set up your agency in a systemized way. So there's two ways you can build your agency. You can build it in a way that you build it as scrappy and quickly as possible. I think that's a good way to do it. You kind of want to do a combination of both, but you also want to put systems in place behind you, or else you're going to get capped at a certain point. It depends also what your goals are. If your goals only to reach 6 figures, then you can build it as fast as you want. It's actually
you can probably get you yourself maybe one VA, if that. You can definitely create a 6-figure agency with that.
Yeah, you can do that with like literally one person running your ads. It's extremely simple. So if you're doing that, it's not really a big deal. But if you're trying to scale to like $100,000 a month plus with your agency, then you need to make sure you have like really robust systems in place for each step in the process. So like you've got a good system in place for outreaching the clients, or like a process to get new clients. And then you've got a process for onboarding clients. You've got a process for getting clients results and keeping them happy.
The fulfillment.
And like a customer support process.
Exactly, the maintenance.
Making sure you got like all of those little details. If you just want to run a 6-figure agency and you're cool with running it with like you and one VA, you don't really need to do that. I mean, you can probably just build it as fast as you can, but of course, make sure you are getting the client's results, or if you're not getting the client's results, they're going to leave. So I would say biggest thing to get out of this video is just be patient and provide value to your clients, provide a solution that they need help with. That's the main thing. It's pretty simple. It's like the simplest thing in business, but like this kind of ties with it. Just ignore these ridiculous guru claims. I saw a Facebook ad yesterday that said, we will build you
I see them all.
a
So
100K
funny.
per month agency in 6 to 12 months, 100% done for you.
Yeah, and it's like, dude.
I mean, how many can I buy?
Yeah, for real. I'm like, I'm about to buy 1,000,000 of them. Here, make me a billionaire overnight. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. Like a lot of people like follow these gigs because the thing is, I see a lot of people falling in for the lifestyle over like the actual work. Like they look at everything as like a lifestyle thing. Like they would much rather invest in $1,000 into somebody who, you know, maxed out all their credit cards to rent out Lamborghini every single day just so they can improve the lifestyle than, you know, investing into somebody who, you know, has put years into this, you know, created an asset that no matter what's going to happen, they're still going to be getting paid, you know?
I admit, I mean, looking back at myself, I could definitely see me being that kind of like person a little bit and just trying to like make money as quickly as possible. And like looking back on it, I realized how stupid it was. And so I guess the best thing you can do is just realize now, like actually listen to what we're saying and just realize that if you provide a good solution, you'll actually become richer faster than somebody that's not. So that's the solution for that. What about you?
I mean, I think the solution to solve, I would say, you know, for people when they're looking at going to your mentor, you know, they got to look at it not only as like a front face value, as in what they're posting on Instagram and that's it, but really dig deep. I mean, you have to understand, you know, as a business owner, you know, there's other things than just, you know, going out and, you know, flexing, you know, that there's things you have to do. So if you're seeing somebody who's just posting nonstop flexing, buy my course here, and there's really no like value given out, like they don't really post value. Like for Bill, an example, you know, he always posts value all the time on his YouTube channel compared to other gurus who just post videos of like, all right, look how I do this in 2 minutes. All right, cool. Buy my course in the next 10 minutes, you know, sales pitch video. And it's like, there's really no value being given, you know, the more value people give without asking for something, that's how you know it's a real person who's like a real mentor, because now you understand that, hey, they're not really in this for the money, and the only reason why they're charging this fee is just so you have skin in the game.
Yeah,
because
exactly. That's kind of.
like,
I mean, I'll probably already have a video about this by the time this goes up, but yeah, I was kind of talking about that already. I mean, that's how you tell the difference. Like, think about what the person's goals are. Is their goal to make as much money as possible with this course, or is this goal really to help people out? Because 95% of people are just making courses to make as much money as they can, when in reality, I mean, courses like a few years ago, courses could scale like so easy. It was kind of ridiculous. It was really
2015.
It's almost like a glitch, dude. It's almost like a broken glitch in a video game.
It was a GTA money glitch.
It's like a GTA money hack courses edition.
Yeah, for real. Back in 2015, man, that was the wild, wild west, man. That was the wild, wild west in 2015. That's when I first started, 2014. And man, that's when the Tai Lopez was raining. Tai Lopez, Alex Becker, they're raining on it. They're just ad spend over ad.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, now it's gotten to the point where people are making the most ridiculous promises ever, and just look through all that and just look through like, okay, what are they actually doing? Are they actually teaching stuff that works and makes sense, or are they just more like? I guess you can look at the percentage of their content. Is there mainly content focused on actually like building a business, or is their content focused on the lifestyle and make money quick? That's how you can kind of tell the difference.
Exactly, you know. And I would think if somebody can take one thing out of this video, I would say definitely going along with your part, you know, the patience part of it, definitely being patient and just believing the system. Because obviously if people like us who, you know, didn't really go to college, there's other people out there, you know, that different parts of the world who probably have it way harder than us to have success. I mean, there's obviously it works. I mean, it's obviously works. It's not like just one person claiming they did all this and that's it. You know, it's obviously works. So believing in following a process that works and being patient, you know, dedicating, you know, at least an hour a day if you're starting out, maybe you have a job, whatever it is, you know, being patient and just being consistent. That is one thing I would say definitely is like the one thing that a lot of people don't do anymore. You know, they're not consistent anymore. They try for a week, they exert all their energy from, you know, what's called the toxic hustle. You know, people just putting as much time thinking like, hey, if I don't work, that means I'm not getting further and I need to work 24/7 to like, you know, find success. But that's the toxic mindset, the toxic hustle mindset, where it's like, you're just kind of like bogging yourself down. You have to understand that, hey, this is a process that works. And as long as every single day I do something that gets me closer to my goals, eventually I'm going to get there, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's huge too. Like, I think a lot of people, like, they get really hyped up for like a few weeks or even a month, but then they like burn themselves out. Or either that, sometimes I've also noticed that one of the biggest problems people have is not putting in the work. And like looking back at it, this is the crazy thing. I'm sorry if we're getting off a little bit topic here, but I think it'll be helpful to people. I remember back when I started my agency, I was thinking about, okay, what's the difference between what I did and what some other people do when I started my agency? When I started my agency, I was working a 9-to-5 job. I would go start my work at 8 a.m. at the job. I have to drive like 15 minutes. So I'd wake up at like 7 a.m., get ready, then drive there, be at work at like 8 a.m. And then I work all the way until 5 p.m. It was an 8 to 5, so even more than a 9 to 5. During lunch, I make prepped meals, like meal prep stuff. Like every weekend, I would make meal prep for the entire week. So I would have a meal prepped meal for lunch with like chicken or sweet potato or something like that at work. And I'd watch like a course or some videos like that during lunch. And like throughout the day, if I could, I would be listening to like podcasts or like a course on my headphones or stuff like that if I could. A lot of times I couldn't do that though. But as much as I could, I would do that. And then I'd go straight from work to the gym. I would take some pre-workout and I'd do a workout. I'd go home, shower, and then cold shower at the end. And then I would eat dinner. And then I would go to work for like 2 to 3 more hours. And then I would go to bed. And I would repeat that process like every single day. And yeah, it really sucked. But I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that, to be honest. I don't know what it is, but maybe they just don't want it bad enough or something. Why do you think people aren't willing to do that? I mean, it is tiring. I'm not going to lie. But.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel it's just people who are in it for the money. They're the ones that get weeded out very quick. Because from what I've seen a lot of people come into this game, and I would say it's that like 60-day mark, that 30 to 45-day mark. That's when like they start. All right, if they're gonna make it or not, pretty much, like from just like the amount of questions they ask, whether it's in your group or maybe you're part of like other marketing groups on Facebook, whatever. It's like you can quickly see somebody's like engaging a lot the first month, and all of a sudden they just stop dwindling and they just stop, and the people who actually want to build something are really tired of like being in the situation they're at, and they're willing to literally like do anything to get there. Like those people are like lethal, man. Those are winners.
I think another big key that a lot of people overlook is having the balls to be able to switch from like a job to doing it on your own.
Exactly.
Like, I know a lot of people want to be safe, but at the same time, sometimes you kind of need that pressure and you need that extra time to be able to do it. Like I usually recommend people if they're in a 9 to 5, it's tough to recommend it to some people because some people will take advice the bad way, the wrong way. And they will like quit their job and then they won't be successful with the agency because they didn't put in the work. And then it'll be like, oh, wow, now I have no job and no money. Well, that's your own fault for messing that up, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like in reality, what I did is I saved up like 8 months of expenses, 8 to 12 months of expenses or something like that. So even if I made $0 for my agency for 8 months, I would still be able to live. Now, and I knew that I'm going to make at least a couple $1,000s a month. So I can probably stay at least a little bit break even.
Exactly.
And so that like forced me. The first thing is it allowed me to work on this full time. So rather than having my brain be like drained from a whole days of work, like, you can do that for probably a few months, but after that, you're probably going to get burned out, to be honest. Or if you have a family, that can be really difficult too, because you probably want to spend time with your family, but you can do it for a few months. But then after that, like you need to really probably have a plan in place that you can switch over full time to an agency.
And there's nothing wrong with being an Uber driver or Uber Eats driver, while you're doing it, you know what I mean? Because you can create your own schedule, you can have some cash flow to reinvest back in your business. I tell people all the time, if you're first starting out, you don't have a job, or if you're thinking about quitting your job, do it and have some sort of a backup in the meantime, just so your expenses aren't like 100% dependent on your savings. Maybe you can cushion some of that with like a side job you have, a side hustle, maybe your Uber Eats driver, Postmates, whatever it is, these are tools. Like even these businesses know that like our jobs are temporary. Like they advertise their jobs as, hey, get to your goals quicker by having this side hustle,
Yeah.
And
why do you think?
I feel like, what was that?
You can go ahead, but I was going to ask after you get done finished explaining that, like, why do you think? I think the biggest problem is a lot of people just don't put in the work. Like, why do you think that
100%.
is?
Because they just want to get rich quick and they don't see the results right away. Like the whole dopamine hit level, like they put all this out expecting a massive dopamine hit back, and they don't get it right away because they understand the market takes time. You put
you're definitely right. I think this is a dopamine thing that's controlling them. Is even though they know that they want it, they're getting like distracted by all these things that seem like that's like a quicker dopamine hit kind of.
Because they're working on all this and they're constantly getting fed every day. All these Instagram posts of these get rich quick gurus, these get rich quick videos. Success here. They go log into the Facebook group. They see, close a $10 million check. Like it's just like they're constantly seeing like perfection all the time from these social media platforms that they understand that, each individual person they saw, it took them years to get to that point, but yet they look at it as face value as I'm like, hey, they did that today. Why can't I do that today? And they understand that it takes time. It's a process that works, you're selling to real humans. You're not selling to robots. So it's not overnight,
Yeah, I think it's that dopamine thing. They're kind of chasing the wrong thing. Can't
Uh,
focus on something long term. It's
exactly.
hard fixing it. I think it's the same reason like why somebody would want to lose weight or like go to the gym, but then they just don't do it. Like, so what makes you stop the habit? It's either that
Mm-hmm.
it's not usually necessarily that they're not motivated enough. It's more so I think they just figure out that there's other things they can do that are easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the problem and why people don't do that. So
And
maybe
they
what
get
can
stuck in
help
that
some of you
rabbit
guys out there is
hole,
like eliminate those things that you're doing instead
shiny
of the
object
work.
syndrome.
Like just either cut them out completely, or if you can't do that, then make it so that you can do those after you finish your work. But I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
also a little bit toxic because then you're going to be like, you're always focusing on the thing after work instead of on your and enjoying the work itself. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to that question, if there's one thing that you take away, I mean, obviously patience, and persistence, but, obviously, if somebody had the funds, somebody is ready to go, what would you tell that person right now? Would you tell them to dive in and go for it right now? Or would you tell them to wait it out? Like, what would you do?
Yeah, like funds to start an agency.
Yeah, let's say they have 6 grand saved up from their 9 to 5 they had. They still live with their parents. They really don't have no overhead. It's kind of just, just paying
Yeah,
for
I
their
mean
own
that was
food,
pretty
kind of
much
things
my
like
exact
that.
situation when I started.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
actually I had 6 grand and I was living with my wife's
Exactly.
mom.
So if you were in
Uh,
that position again, I mean, what would you do right? Like if you were in this pandemic right now, like what would you do? Would you tell them to like wait it out and then start, or start right now? What would you do?
Probably do the same exact thing, to be honest. I would just start it right away
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just figure out what's the current market problem, how can I fix it, like what's the right industry for me to do this in, and then just start talking to some of them, figuring out their problems, just actually caring
Mhm.
about helping them, and then pretty much grow from there.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, I think we've kind of covered most most subjects and most kind of questions people mostly have. I mean, is there kind of any like last questions you've seen that people asked you that would definitely fit in this video?
No, it's, I mean, we pretty much answered all of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
The main thing I think people are worried about is like what niche to go with, but we
Hmm.
kind of already answered that. And like how this will affect and just being scared overall. But I think it's not really a thing that I worry about. It's the same thing when people always ask me every time Facebook makes like a change. Like for example, they made a change to like real estate and car dealerships that they removed some targeting features such as like bad credit or like good credit and things like that. And they removed a
Hmm.
lot of targeting features from those industries. But in reality, like I never worry about stuff like that. I know it's still going to work. And it's just a matter of changing your strategy just a little bit. And I think people just worry about too much the small changes and not rather than just thinking it's like more of a mindset of where I'm going to just like whatever happens, happens and I'll just adapt to it compared to I think some people just think like,
Yeah,
oh,
they
this
don't want
thing's
to
broken. Now
fail.
I can't do this anymore. And I
Yeah,
just give up
they
so
don't want to
easily. I don't
fail.
understand how
Exactly.
that works, but
Like they
yeah.
don't want to fail. Like people understand that you are going to fail at one point somewhere along. It's living. There's winning and learning, but never losing. You lose, that means you learn something, right? Don't do it again. All right, cool. Repeat it again and keep. And
Yeah,
eventually,
exactly.
you're not going to run into any issues. Like I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, there's been times where I had to refund clients. There's times where I had to refund clients after I already spent the money and had to take it out of my own account. I had overdraft fees. Like there's been moments where I messed up. And that's just going to happen. It's going to happen. Of course, you want to put every precaution in place to make sure that those blows aren't as hard as they were if you were unprepared. But I mean, there's unexpected things that are going to happen all the time. And that's just a part of being a business owner, adapting. Those are little things that really secure you into becoming a real entrepreneur, and not just some glorified freelancer. That helps you understand how things actually work. Just so when you're expanding your team, you're expanding your business, you understand what processes you have to set in place to help that scale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I
Awesome.
mean, so far I think we've covered everything. I know if you're watching this from on my YouTube channel, guys, I'll have Billy's stuff linked down below. I mean, definitely subscribe to him. He's one of my original mentors. Reasons why I'm in this office today, I wouldn't be here. So I would definitely appreciate you guys if you guys would definitely give him a shout and tell him Joe sent you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that and great
Yeah, man, my
conversation
pleasure.
overall. I think this is going to help people out a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm actually pretty proud of you guys for sticking all the way through to the end of this video. And I think it was worth it for you guys. Thank you so much for Joe for doing this video with me.
My pleasure,
Really
man.
great questions and
Anytime.
really great feedback from you. It's always good having a conversation with you. And I think Joe would be able to help a lot of you guys out as well. So if you're interested in watching some more videos with Joe, check out his channel. I'll leave his link in the description. And besides that, thank you guys for watching. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and do that. And once again, post a video every week on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thank you guys. See ya.